Can you lower your body weight set point so that when you do lose weight, you're not constantly white knuckling it to maintain this low body fat percentage? Yes. In this video, I'm going to show you what you can do so that you can go on living life as if you have skinny jeans. Of the following list, there are two things that give you maybe 90% of the results, but I'm going to tell you which ones they are at the end. But right now, let's go over the list of the things that if you have all of them in place, you are guaranteed to just be able to live life as if you are born with skinny genetics. Hi, my name is Dr. Sarah Zaldivar, and I managed to lose and maintain 35 pounds despite struggling with my weight and depression and anxiety, emotional eating, binge eating, and the list goes on from a very young age. I managed to do that by raising my baseline dopamine. I explained how I raised my baseline dopamine, which also led to a lower body weight set point in this YouTube video. This is gonna be linked at the end of this video if you wanna check it out. I also quit my nutrition and exercise physiology professor jobs at the University of Miami, Miami-Dade College, and the American College of Sports Medicine and elsewhere so I could coach the thousands of clients that I was able to reach by focusing on research and creating content online. All right. What can you do to lower your body weight set point? Number one, train with intensity, both with cardio. So we're thinking more like sprinting as opposed to steady state, low intensity cardio that your body's gonna adapt to, and resistance training where you're constantly progressively overloading the muscles and constantly being able to lift heavier and heavier weights. The faster you get and the heavier the weights that you can lift, the greater your baseline dopamine level gets, which is the amount of dopamine receptors or D2 receptors you have in your brain. And also that is correlated with a lower body weight set point. And that's just one way in which exercise can lower your body weight set point. There are additional hormonal changes that occur that are very powerful that turbocharge your metabolism and speed up your metabolism so that you act as if and you live life as if you have skinny genetics. Number two is developing the habit of having a lot of background activity. So this is why a lot of people, once they settle into a 9-to-5, they quickly gain weight because they may have been athletes or very physically active in school and in college, and then all of a sudden all of this physical activity goes away and now they're sedentary, and that really affects your appetite hormones, it affects your satiety hormones, it affects how quickly you burn through fat, your fat oxidation. So there are a lot of physiological things that occur in the body that lead to more hunger, more cravings, and a sluggish metabolism that really cannot handle burning through the calories that you used to eat. The way that I do it is by having a desk bike and a treadmill desk. And so the desk bike is a lot cheaper for people to get their hands on, and it's more compact, and you can probably get one for like $200. And it's not so much about burning the calories, it's more about when you increase the total amount of calories you burn in the day, you become more sensitive to your satiety and hunger cues. And so your cravings and your hunger levels drop. So it has a lot more to do than just the amount of calories that you're burning. Number three, lower your carbohydrate consumption. Almost all the time when somebody has an easier time gaining body fat, they tend to have a lower level of carbohydrate tolerance. And so at least in the beginning stages where we're trying to get you fit and change your body composition, it's really important in the beginning stages to be very psychotic about the amount of carbohydrates that you're consuming. Number four, you want to increase your intake of protein to at least 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight. So let's say you weigh 300 pounds, but your ideal body weight is 150 pounds, then you want to ensure you're consuming every single day, at the very least, 150 grams of protein, ideally from whole food sources. Number five, ditch anything that comes out of a package. So you want to focus on consuming real whole foods that are unprocessed. That's going to fill you up a lot faster, and it's not going to create cravings for more drug foods or hyper palatable foods. Now, I did say there are two things on this list that are absolutely important, more important than all of the others, and those are lowering your carbohydrate consumption and increasing the intensity of both your cardio and your strength training. Both of those things are probably responsible for 90% of your body weight set point. When it comes to lowering your carbohydrate consumption, you want to make sure you're eating less than 25 grams of carbs per day. For some people, if you are tall, you have a big frame, you have a lot of weight on you, you could get away with 50 or even sometimes 75 grams of carbs per day and still be losing weight that way. But as you lose weight, or the smaller of a frame you have, the less carbs you consume, the faster you drop body body fat and the faster you drop your body weight set point. So you can follow something like a ketogenic diet or a carnivore diet. If you need help in that area, I was featured on the first ever carnivore diet TV series called Reverse TV, and I will send you a free copy of my guide, the 30-day carnivore diet challenge guide, when you sign up to my newsletter at drsarahzolliver.com/newsletter. Now, why is exercise such a critically important variable to drop our body weight set point? Because of the following reasons. Number one, it is the fastest way to raise your baseline dopamine. When you raise your baseline dopamine, you're basically increasing the activity of dopamine in your brain. So not only are you increasing the total amount of dopamine that you're releasing from your brain, but also the amount of dopamine D2 receptors on the cell surface of adjacent brain cells. So dopamine gets released from one brain cell, it has to attach to the D2 receptor or the dopamine receptor on an adjacent brain cell. The more of those D2 receptors you have, you don't need as much dopamine to feel high, to feel motivated, to feel energetic. But if you don't have enough D2 receptors, maybe because you've played too many video games or you've eaten too much junk food, drug foods, or you've been addicted to all kinds of substances, maybe alcohol, nicotine, or other things, then over time, those kinds of addictions or loss of disciplined behaviors destroy the amount of D2 receptors on your brain surface. And so now if you remove external sources of dopamine like cupcakes and pizzas or video gaming or things that give you this fake source of dopamine, if you remove this external source of dopamine, you don't have any dopamine being released and you don't have enough D2 receptors, so your sensitivity for dopamine drops. So you basically have a low baseline dopamine. So it's very difficult to stick to a diet. It's very difficult to be disciplined. It's very difficult to be motivated and energetic, right? And so this is why people struggle a lot to be able to stick to a weight loss diet and then maintain it, because they've been used to getting their dopamine hits from food, and now all of a sudden, to be able to change their body composition, they need to change the foods that they're eating, and they're gonna go towards more real foods that don't have this unnatural dopamine response, and so they feel depressed the longer they are on this diet, sometimes from day one, right? And so they might be able to white knuckle it for a week or two, maybe 3, but almost always people kind of can't keep that up. This is because they did not reduce their body weight set point by increasing their baseline dopamine level. I actually spent 7 years working on my dissertation at the University of Miami. That was a dissertation that I defended and I got my PhD in nutrition and exercise physiology. And the whole topic was how to raise baseline dopamine levels in order to target sugar addiction. And so if you want help in that area, either check out my coaching packages, they're linked below, or check out my fitness bundle, whereby the brain rehab protocol that I came up with to raise your baseline dopamine level is outlined. It's a series of 3 guides called Dopamine Brain Monster, Mindset, and Dopamine Body. And so all of them are gonna help you raise your baseline dopamine so you can drop your body weight set point and be able to change your body weight and your body composition without having to white knuckle it. You wanna feel like you naturally have skinny genetics. You wanna feel like you naturally have fit genes. And that is the way to do that. You can find my brain rehab protocol that shows you how you can raise your baseline dopamine, especially using certain forms of exercise, on my website at drsarahzolliver.com/shop. Another important thing to touch upon is that sprinting significantly spikes your caloric burn after your sprint session for 1 to 2 days. And so you're constantly burning extra calories, not only during this high intensity exercise, but also for multiple days following that workout. This also happens with resistance exercise, but not to the same extreme. Also, strength training sends the signaling to your body to build muscle and not conserve energy. And so when people usually diet, their metabolism adapts to the amount of calories that you're eating. And so you think you're in a caloric deficit, but you're no longer in a caloric deficit. But if you're incorporating strength training, that's going to prevent that metabolic slowdown from happening. And so it's gonna allow you to keep eating more calories throughout the diet and not have a slow metabolism by the end of the diet. Not only that, but with strength training, you're going to put on some muscle, and muscle burns more calories than other tissues in your body. And so the more muscle you have on your frame, the more you will naturally burn calories, the faster the metabolism you're going to have. And not only that, it's also the signaling, the hormonal signaling that occurs when you have more muscles on your body. And so you're less hungry, you're not craving foods as much, and a fit physique feels almost effortless at this point. Also, sprinting spikes your growth hormone by 2000%. Not only that, but sprinting and resistance training also spike testosterone. So it's like your natural steroid. Also, sprinting and resistance training reverse insulin and leptin resistance. So if you become more insulin sensitive and leptin sensitive, you feel satiated a lot sooner. So hunger levels drop. Also, sprinting and resistance training drop ghrelin levels. Ghrelin is your main hunger hormone. So if you have lower levels of ghrelin, you will naturally have less hunger throughout your weight loss journey. And that's another big reason why people can stick to the diet, because as they lose and lose and lose more weight, hunger levels start to go up and up and up. But if you're strength training all the time and sprinting all the time, that hunger increase never happens. And so you can get to very lean levels and feel still the same way, not feel like you're white knuckling it. Thus, you've lowered your body weight set point. Now, if you need more motivation and support and accountability, feel free to reach out for my one-on-one coaching packages at drsarahzaldivar.com/coaching. If you use code YouTube, you will get 50% off on all of my coaching packages. I highly recommend you check out the 12-week premium package. I meet with you for a whole hour every single week. So you have 12 Zoom calls in total. You have unlimited email support. We go over your labs, if you have any. We go over your supplementation protocol, exercise, nutrition, and most importantly, we do the exercise and the meal plan adjustments as we go, so you never plateau. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section below. I read all my comments and I answer them all. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you let me know by giving this YouTube video a thumbs up, subscribing, and hitting that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.